Now this is the story about Skarloey, the My Thomas Story Library book Skarloey. Skarloey came to the Fat Controller's Railway 100 years ago, and this story is about the troubles he had when he was brand new and he couldn't stop bouncing up and down. Let's find out what happened, shall we? Skarloey worked on the little railway on the island of Sodor. He was 100 years old, but he was still a really useful engine. All the other engines liked Skarloey, and he would tell them stories about when he was young. Everyone's favourite Skarloey story was about the time Skarloey first came to the little railway. Skarloey was built at the same time as another engine called Rheneas. They were both red with 4 wheels each, and they had no cabs back then. "We look wonderful," said Skarloey proudly. "We will pull coaches and everyone will want to ride in them," replied Rheneas. Skarloey and Rheneas were both going to work on the mountain line of the little railway, but Skarloey was finished first, so he had to go to the little railway alone, leaving Rheneas behind. The two engines felt sad when they said goodbye to each other. Skarloey was sent away on a ship. It was very wobbly, and at the port they used the ship's cranes to lift Skarloey onto the shore. The ship's cranes were called the derricks, and they nearly turned Skarloey upside down. "How dare they treat me like this?" said Skarloey crossly. He was left hanging from the derricks for a long time. At last an engine arrived to take him to the mountain line. "About time," huffed Skarloey. It was dark when Skarloey arrived at the mountain line. He felt lonely and miserable. "I wish Rheneas was here," he said sadly. The next morning there were trucks everywhere. They rattled and roared past Skarloey. "There's no engine pulling them," said Skarloey in surprise. "The trucks come down the mountain by gravity," explained the manager, "but the empty ones need taking up again, so that's why you've come." "What?" said Skarloey crossly. "I don't want to pull trucks. Can't I pull coaches, sir?" "Certainly not," said the manager. "We have to finish building this line, and for that we need trucks. The inspector is coming to look at the line soon." Skarloey was furious. When the workmen tried to start him, his fire wouldn't burn. He made no steam. He just blew smoke at them. They tried again the next day, and the next, but Skarloey wouldn't do a thing. Finally, the manager lost his temper. "We're not going to look at your sulky face all day, Skarloey," he said. "We'll leave you alone till you're a better engine." They covered Skarloey with a big sheet of tarpaulin and went away. Skarloey felt even more lonely and unhappy. Nobody talked to him. At last the manager came back. "I hope that you'll be a better engine from now on," he said. "Yes, sir, I will, sir," said Skarloey earnestly. And from then on, Skarloey worked very hard, and sometimes he got too excited and would bounce up and down. The manager was very pleased with his efforts, and by the time the Rheneas arrived at last, the line was ready. Skarloey was delighted to see his old friend. Rheneas soon settled in. One day, while he was shunting trucks, Skarloey hurried up to him. "I'm going to pull the inspector's train today," said Skarloey. "Be careful not to bounce," said Rheneas. "The inspector won't like that." But Skarloey was just so excited he just couldn't stop bouncing. Skarloey had to take the inspector up to the top of the mountain and then back down again. The upward journey went very well, and Skarloey felt very happy. But when it was time to go down, Skarloey was really excited. As they went faster and faster, he began to bounce. The coaches were scared. "He's playing tricks," they said. "Bump him, bump him." Just then Skarloey gave an extra big bounce, and the inspector lost his footing. He flew into a bush on the side of the line. The driver stopped the train. The inspector was not hurt, but he was very cross. "From now on you will stay in the shed," he said to Skarloey. "You are a bad engine." But when the inspector told the manager what had happened, the manager felt sorry for Skarloey. He knew that he had been trying very hard to be good. "What Skarloey needs is an extra pair of wheels," he said. "Then he won't bounce any more." So Skarloey was sent off to the works. And when Skarloey came back, Rheneas hardly recognized him. He had 6 wheels and a brand new cab, and he looked very smart. Now let's see what you can do, said the manager. And sure enough, Skarloey found it much easier to travel along smoothly without bouncing. And from then on, Skarloey pulled trucks and coaches up and down the track as easily as anything, and he didn't bounce his passengers once. And 100 years later, he is still as good as new. It's one of my favourites of the My Thomas Story Library collection. What's your favourite?